All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I call this special called meeting in order. Attorney Brown.
Good afternoon, Mayor Johnson, Commissioners. We will request a motion to go into executive session for the discussion of pending potential litigation, real estate, and/or personnel.
So moved.
Second.
There's a proper motion and a second. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
I'm fine, sir, and you? Oh, thank you. That motion carries. Yes. All right. With Mr. Mason voting yes, Ms. Pulliam, Ms. McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Sean Franham, Mr. Francine Scott, and Mr. Wayne Guilfoyle.
I can assure you I voted yes, Ms. Bonner. Yes, I can assure you that.
Okay, that motion carries with, who was that? Mr. Garrett.
Thank you.
Okay, you was out, and let's see, Jordan Johnson. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. With that, we are in executive session. Thank you so much. Administrator, county attorney, and the clerk of the commission, I apologize for our tardiness. Just as soon as they get in place, we'll get this meeting started. Thank you for your patience. Got it, right? All right. Madam Clerk, I call this meeting back to order. Attorney Brown.
Mayor Johnson, Commissioners, we request a motion to execute the closed meeting affidavit.
So moved.
Second.
Proper motion, seconded. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
Ms. Johnson, please. It's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Attorney Brown, are there any motions as a result of our executive session?
Yes, sir, Mayor Johnson. There's one motion to be read by the administrator, Takia Dowse.
Thank you.
Mayor Johnson, I would like to request a motion to approve a lease agreement between Augusta, Georgia and the Patch Project LLC for property commonly known as and property located at 2023 Highland Avenue, also comprised of land located at 4023 Jim Dent Way and 3165 Damascus Road.
Thank you so much.
So moved.
There's a proper motion and a second. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
It's unanimous.
Thank you so much. Attorney Brown, are there any additional motions?
No, sir.
Not, I consider this executive session closed, and we're going to start our regular commission meeting. Welcome, guys. A week before Masters. Glad to have you here. Madam Clerk, I call this meeting to order.
Yes, sir. At this point, we will have our invocation presented by Reverend Eugene Beverly, pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church, after which we would like to ask a volunteer to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
A volunteer. Is there one? It's got to be
Is
someone.
there one?
By show of hands, is there a volunteer willing to lead us? I got a volunteer right there. Madam, you come on up and lead us on up here after this prayer. Thank you so much. After the prayer.
Right here.
Right here.
What's right here? That's okay. We're just trying to have you.
Greetings to everyone this afternoon. Look at your neighbor and just give them a big Augustonian smile. Give them a big smile. If they don't smile at you, to have them take their teeth out. Then smile at you again. Once again, good afternoon to everyone. It's an honor for me to be here today to open up this session in prayer. Let us go to the Lord. We come now with humble hearts, first thanking you for another day. We don't take this day for granted because we know with just the loss of one heartbeat, this day would and could have been another day with a tragic news report. We come asking that this prayer is received not as a procedural check the block and let's move on, but as a reminder to us that we need your spiritual guidance as we conduct the business of this great city. We seek to have clarity in thought and without mental reservation, without hesitation and ungodly imagination. We seek clarity in our spoken words, and the words that we use are spoken with deep compassion and always uplifting. We come asking that your will for this city be met with one accord commission, a commission of city leaders that believe in that the very first words of the Constitution of this United States, we the people, was not just a coincidence, but was written under the guidance of our God. We ask now that you guide us, protect us, and bless this city of Augusta, Georgia. In Jesus' name do we pray, and we all say amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would you introduce yourself to us so we'll know?
Good afternoon. My name is Aubriana Bonner. I'm representing KJ Soul Food Bar and Grill. Thank you.
Full disclosure, we are not relatives as we know it right now. I'm sure it's in the bloodline somewhere. Reverend Beverly, on behalf of the Augusta Commission, we would like to thank you for invoking that prayer of service on our behalf. The Bible teaches us that we're to pray. Men ought to always pray. And to pray for those that are in authority. So we appreciate that, and we know that heaven heard from us today. Thank you so very much. And by these presents be it known that Reverend Eugene Beverly, pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church, is chaplain of the day. May his spiritual guidance and civic leadership serve as an example for all citizens of Augusta. Given under my hand the 2nd day of April, 2024, Garnett L. Johnson, Mayor. Thank you so very much.
Reverend Beverly, thank you again for being here. Young lady, thank you, Ms. Bonner, for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes.
Chair recognizes the commissioner from the 2nd, Commissioner Pulliam.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take a personal point of privilege.
Yes, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. If I could have you, Mayor Johnson, Super District Commissioner Francine Scott, and Super District 9 come to the floor, please. My colleagues in Super District 9, I apologize.
No.
Super District 9.
District 9. Mhm.
This is, I'm not gonna cry, so that's what I was preparing for. Everyone kept asking me what was wrong with me. We are so proud of you. Commissioner Scott was recently inducted into the Lane Hall of Fame. She is the first commissioner to be inducted into the Lane Hall of Fame. And so I felt it fitting for us to do a proclamation. Mayor Johnson is in agreement, as well as Super District 9's
Commissioner Scott, proclamation in recognition of Commissioner Francine Scott Day. Whereas Commissioner Francine R. Scott, also known as Fran by those who love her, was born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. She graduated from the Lucy C. Laney High School in 1973 and proudly serves as the class reunion president. Commissioner Scott attended the City Colleges of Chicago, Illinois. She is the proud mother of one daughter, one grandson, and a bonus mom of 2 nieces. And whereas Commissioner Scott's career spanned more than 30 years with the state of Georgia, where she worked for several agencies, including the Department of Intergovernmental Affairs within the Governor's Office of Highway Safety, Commissioner Scott has a reputation for honesty, integrity, experience in governmental oversight affairs, and leadership. And whereas Commissioner Francine Scott has received many awards over the few years, to include the 21st Lee N. Beard Humanitarian Award, Dedicated Service Award, Employee of the Year, Volunteer of the Year 2020. And whereas in her first year as County Commissioner, she championed the city's non-discrimination ordinance. She has been very active within District 9, She has a passion for giving back to the community in a way she can. She is the first county commissioner and the first female super district commissioner in the history of Augusta Richmond County to be inducted into the Lucy C. Laney Hall of Fame. And whereas the services as chair of the Administrative Services Committee, Finance Committee member, and ex officio to the Family Connection, Commissioner Scott is active with the National Association of County Officials. She serves as the Justice and Public Safety Steering Committee and on the board of directors for Save Kids of Incarcerated Parents of Georgia. And whereas Commissioner Scott continues to forge ahead in the fight to combat food insecurities, affordable housing, and leverage economic development for citizenry in District 9. And now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Garnett L. Johnson, Mayor of the City of Augusta, do hereby proclaim April the 2nd, 2024, as Commissioner Francine Scott Day. Given under my hand the 2nd day of April, 2024.
Lucy Craft Laney has one of the richest legacies in this entire community, and I tell you, Commissioner Scott is with some fine company in that there's people that's on that Hall of Fame that have not only made changes and impacts to Augusta, but all over this world. So I commend her. I congratulate her. I had an opportunity of being there to see her inducted into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations, madam. You want to say anything? Or
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got it. All right.
Wow. To my colleagues from Super District 9 and 10, let me say I could not do what I'm doing without all of you, especially my colleagues in 9. You always support me. We always support each other, and that's what it's going to take to move Augusta into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Commissioner. All right, Madam Clerk, moving on. I've been made aware that we got a great vendor that has a birthday today. Gary Coker, happy birthday, sir. As I understand, you spent your past 2 birthdays in Augusta, Georgia. This one's going to be a lot nicer than last year. Happy birthday. Glad to have you, sir. Madam Clerk, with that being said, I think we're to the consent portion of our agenda. Mr. Coker, happy birthday.
Okay. Our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 13, items 1 through 13. If there are any objectors to any of our alcohol petitions, would you please signify your objections by raising your hand once the petition is read? Call your attention to item number 1. It's a request to add liquor to an existing beer and wine consumption on-premise alcohol license for property located at 901 Broad Street. Are there any objectors? Item number 2 is a request for an on-premise consumption for liquor, beer, and wine license with Sunday sales for location at 1167 Broad Street. Are there any objectors? Item number 3 is for an on-premise consumption liquor, beer, and wine license with dance for a location at 3110B Washington Road. Are there any objectors? Item number 4 is a request for a retail package beer and wine license to be used in connection with the location at 2382 Barton Chapel Road. Are there any objectors? Item number 5 is a request for an on-premise consumption for liquor, beer, and wine with Sunday sales, location at 3626 Walton Way. Are there any objectors? Item number 6 is a request for a retail package beer and wine license for a location at 2320 Peach Orchard Road. Mr. Mayor and members of the commission, our consent agenda consists of items 1 through 13 with no objectors to our alcohol petition.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I've been made aware that there's an addition that needs to be made to this agenda. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Allen Mason.
Yes, I put in a request for addition for K&J Soul that I sent the email out for.
You sure did, and it's in. We'll get it done. You're
Okay.
right, you did.
Very good.
All right. So as we go through,
Well, let us proceed through this, and we'll get
let's
that.
go through the consent agenda. Commissioner Mason, we'll get to you in just a second. You're still in the queue. All right. You checked out. All right. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Commissioner Sean Franham.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right. There's a motion from the Commissioner from the 7th and a second from the Commissioner from the 9th. Colleagues, I see no one else in the queue. We're voting.
It's unanimous.
All right, Madam Clerk, are we prepared for that? Addendum
Well,
item?
we'll do the addendum item, sir, if we
Okay,
could, please,
okay.
once we get through the regular
You got
meeting,
it.
and we'll have the addendum item ready.
You got it. All right, let's continue, Madam. Item 14.
Okay. Item number 14, consider actions against the business and alcohol license of Smart Grocery and Zeldin Grocery LLC Stop and Go, including probation up to termination. Requested by Commissioner Bobby Williams.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner from the 5th, Bobby Williams, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir. When this issue was before us some weeks ago, we didn't have a determination, and we did not have a full house of commissioners. I'm not going to sit here and talk it to death. It's been debated. I'm just going to make a motion that we do 6 months probation with this situation. We did have another situation with a club that had similar incidents, and we gave him 6 months probation. If we're gonna give one probation and then not give probation to the other entity that had similar incidents, then I think we're being unfair. Either both of them need probation, neither needs anything. So I'm just going to make a motion that we do 6 months probation and we take a vote up or down or what have you. I'm not going to sit here and keep mashing the issue or what have you. But I have had citizens and constituents to call me about this particular incident, and they say that it's okay. It's not really that much better, but I'm going to let that go. Got a motion to give them 6 months probation.
Thank you, Commissioner from the 5th. Madam Clerk, there's a motion and a proper second from Commissioner from the 7th, Sean Ranham. I'm going to continue through the queue before we vote, okay? Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 10th, Commissioner Wayne Guilfoyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On March 19th, it did come before this body. Couldn't help it if all the commissioners was not here, but the commissioner did take action not to put any probation on this store. In the discussion that day, as well as the next agenda item, which is Club Climax, they both hired security, both changed hours. They trying to make provisions to where you would see some kind of success to keep the unwanted from being around there. They installed cameras as well as Club Climax. This is not making sense to me because the next agenda item is to rescind the probation. So if we apply probation on this and we rescind on agenda item number 15, are we going to come back in 2 weeks and rescind this probation? We send mixed signals to this, the business entity of our Richmond County. I'll make a motion to leave as is right now.
Second.
All right, thank you, Commissioner from the 10th. Madam Clerk, there's a substitute motion to leave as is with a proper second from Commissioner from the 3rd. Commissioner McKnight, you are in the queue, madam.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I wanted to see if it would be appropriate if we could hear from the attorney from Smart Grocery.
Yes. All right, please, sir, come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Bill Keogh with the Hull Barrett Law Firm, 801 Broad Street in Augusta. It is an honor to appear before y'all, as it has been for the many years I've practiced. I'm here with Mr. Sapak as well. This matter first came before this board in February, first week of February. As Commissioner Guilfoyle stated, our client has hired security. We have security there 3 nights a week. The operator has voluntarily reduced their hours from a 24-hour store to now close at 11 o'clock. They're losing money in order to make this work. And I'm proud to say that in the 2 months since that, there have been 0 incidents. And I believe the only evidence you're going to have in front of you is that there's 0 incidents. If there's something to the contrary, I have not been provided that. I would love to see it. My clients have been working very, very hard to make this work. They work in the stores. They have their families in the stores. They take the security extremely seriously. A lot of the issues that come up is because it is in the public and there are some properties around it who are not before this board that have absentee landlords. They're groups that are owned by companies in Minnesota and Ohio and New York. My folks are here paying taxes. They're here working hard to make this problem go away, and I believe they've been extremely successful. I do think it's important that people treat everyone equally. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. This is a public location. This is much more akin to public streets, public parks, and private businesses all across our county, that unfortunately crime happens. It's not because of the operation of the business, it's because crime's around. And I would suggest, with respect, that is different than something like a club that can restrict who comes in and out. It's a very different kind of business. But whatever y'all do with the club or not with the club really isn't our business. That's up to y'all, of course. But I would respectfully say, since I'm a lawyer, I'd have to at least say this for the record, that I believe it would be arbitrary and capricious and a taking of my client's property without due process and without just and adequate compensation being paid first, to take facts from a different case and apply it here, especially when there have been no problems here for 2 months. Having gotten the lawyer part out of the way, my clients have worked very hard to make this happen. They want to make this happen. They're part of this community. We believe that y'all were correct to not put on any probation. We would ask that you not put probation on any longer. Again, I greatly thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, we're happy to try to answer them. Otherwise, we, again, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you for coming forward. I appreciate it. And I did. I was the first one to put this on the agenda a couple of months ago. And I have been monitoring and have been in contact with the owners, and they have made great strides to do what the attorney said. And, I have a change of heart, and I have a right to have a change of heart when I see that the owners are doing what they can to protect the people around. They're doing the best they can. And so I'm going to support my colleague from Super District 10 and say we leave this alone. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Alvin Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While I'm not anti-business in any way, shape, or form, I am a little concerned about some of the verbiage that's being used here. I hear the lawyer say that there's been no real issues in the last 2 months, but what's happened in the months beforehand? And we have to not take it in an isolated or small sample. We have to look at the bigger picture. And I'm more interested, if you have an answer for me, what's been going on in the months prior to that.
Thank you, Commissioner Mason. That's an excellent question. There have been calls in the past, and the reason is because our client is calling when they see something. They have 69 video cameras, And the reason that there are the calls are primarily from my client not wanting to take the law into his own hands. It's from people coming from neighboring properties on there. And so what they have done, to answer your question specifically, is they've tried to address that by making sure that there were additional video cameras, there's on-site security, they put signs saying no loitering, they have lowered their hours.
Just a second.
Yes, sir.
If I would, please, because I think you're going in the direction, I wasn't asking what have they done. I think that's been stated. I was asking what happened the months prior in terms of incidents at the store, not what have they done to clean it up. I was wondering what has happened prior to that in terms of incidents.
Yes, sir.
And why we're here in the first place.
And I don't have the details of all that. I know that was handled in February. I do know that there have been many of the phone calls which have come in. There was a log that was reviewed at the time, come from the owner to try to get the sheriff's department to come out there.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, is our planning and development director or anyone from the sheriff's department
Director
here?
Delaney, or yes, here she comes. She's in the house.
Because we don't put it into this. Okay. After I get finished with her.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Director Delaney. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
Great. You're familiar with this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
This agenda item, rather. I don't want to make it seem like we're in a legal situation. But and the recommendation from Planning and Development, as well as the Sheriff's Office. Do we have a recommendation from?
The Sheriff's Office is the one who brought the recommendation. The Planning and Development Department was the vehicle in which the recommendation came. The Planning and Development Department does not have a recommendation in regards to this particular case. It was just the request from the Sheriff's Department.
And what was the, I don't think I was here that day, what was the Sheriff's Department's recommendation?
They actually were non-committal in their response to.
Everybody non-committal.
I think that for everyone that was here, they were non-committal to me, but they were the ones who brought the information forward and the facts.
Well, you know, that Mr. Mayor, that seems a problem for me now, because I thought I had a feeling one way, but I mean, if the Sheriff's Department is non-committal and the Planning and Development Department is non-committal, who is committal? Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Sheriff's Department was invited to come and represent their case again.
Well, clearly they're not here.
They're not here.
They're non-committal. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner McKnight, you back in the queue?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Since they're non-committal, obviously they're not really committed over there at the Smart Grocery, because they're not there, and we got proof from Smart Grocery owners that they've called the Sheriff's Department to come over there. It's up to the Sheriff's Department, too, to do their job, and their job is to protect. So I say that the owners of Smart Grocery have done everything they can to reach out to the Sheriff's Department, but nobody's here today to speak on this. So, again, I know where I'm standing on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the first, Commissioner Jordan Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to call for the question.
All right, there's been a call from the question. Madam Clerk. Yes, sir.
Just for clarity, from a legal perspective, calling from the question means what exactly?
It is a request by the person calling for the question to end debate. If the mayor proceeds to attempt to end debate and there is no objection, debate will be ended. If, however, there is objections to ending the debate, the only thing that can happen next is that there must be a vote by the body to determine whether there are 6 votes or more to end the debate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just clarity.
Thank you, Attorney Brown. Madam Clerk, there's been a substitute motion made to take no action on this by the Commissioner from the 10th and seconded by the Commissioner from the 3rd. We're ready to vote on that. All right, so this is no action taken against Smart Grocery. All right, we're voting. So
They only.
It would.
So Smart Grocery?
It would be to take no action on the motion that is listed on your
On,
agenda.
on the agenda, that is correct. No action, and both stores are listed in the motion. All right? All right.
That motion carries 6-4, with Mr. Johnson voting no, Mr. Mason, Mr. Bobby Williams, and Mr. Sean Franham.
All right. Let's move on, Madam Clerk. Let's move to the next item.
Item
15.
number 15, motion to rescind the 6 months probation of Club Climax, AKA Club Rain, 1855 Gordon Highway, for failure to comply with Augusta Richmond County alcohol ordinance.
Thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Stacy Pulliam, this is one of your items. You want to? You have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. As we just heard, the two grocers that came before us, we voted to not take action. The day that these two cases were presented to us, the club owner came prior to the grocers. And so for me, it's a matter of being fair across the board. Mr. Allen has worked very hard. In fact, he's had, and Mr. Allen is the club owner, he has had deputies in place for over a year, 3 deputies. And so what he's decided to do upon coming to us is now have one of those deputies come in 30 minutes earlier. So I am asking my colleagues to rescind the motion to put Mr. Allen on probation, and we will just, again, continue to monitor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Pulliam. Chair recognizes Commissioner McKnight from the third.
Okay, I was going to second it.
All right, we're going to second. So there's a motion and a proper second. Commissioner McKnight. All right, seeing no colleagues in the queue, let's vote. This is to rescind the 6 months probation.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, are you, okay, thank you. That motion carries 7-3. With Mr. Johnson voting yes, Ms. Pulliam, Ms. McKnight, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Tony Lewis, Mr. Brandon Garrett, Ms. Francine Scott, and Mr. Wayne Guilfoyle. Oh, voting no, Mr. Mason and Mr. Franham and Mr. Garrett.
All right. All right, Madam Clerk, let's keep moving.
Item number 16 is to discuss the Augusta Aviation Commission responsibilities and duties as detailed in the Augusta Code.
Thank you. Madam Administrator, I think you had the floor on this.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. As you know, the code section for the Augusta Aviation Commission details duties and responsibilities. And while this matter has not been brought to this body for discussion in some time, I wanted to know if it was the will of the commission to further explore how those duties are outlined, specifically as it relates to how the Augusta Aviation Commission relates to the Augusta Commission.
Yeah, I already signed that. All right. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Commissioner Sean Franham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Administrator, is this in reference when you talk about the pay aspect where the pay doesn't have to come through the Augusta Commission? Currently, it goes to the airport.
That is a portion of the topic, if that is the will in which you would like to direct.
Okay. And then what is the timeline, or how do you foresee this being, I guess, worked out? Is it a workshop? Is it we're going to task someone and come back in 60 days, 90 days? Like,
if there are recommendations that the body is already familiar with, in wanting to see, such as the item that you brought to the attention moments ago, or if you would choose to have a work session in which we could go through and revise the document holistically, or at least discuss it holistically, we could schedule to do that as well. It would provide for more expanded conversation if you choose to do so via a work session.
And has any of this been discussed with the Aviation Commission?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that we're just at a time right now that we need to look at this, so I make a motion that we move forward discussing this in detail.
Second.
All right, I think the commissioner from the 3rd came in first.
And I do, and to clarify that, I do believe the Aviation Commission needs to be at the table as well at the meeting, represented. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner. Well, so Madam Clerk, there's a motion and a second based on the recommendation of Commissioner Sean Frynham. There's no further discussions. If you don't mind, please re-clarify the motion. Yes.
Yeah, motion to have a work session with the Aviation Commission at the table and the commission to discuss all stated duties, responsibilities, pay, and things that under the Augusta Code.
All right. Everybody clear on that? There's a motion and a second. Attorney Brown?
Also adding to that the powers and duties of the Aviation Commission for discussion. Thank you.
All right. Motion and second. Colleagues, we're voting. Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, 17.
Item 17 is a motion to approve the creation of the Augusta, Georgia Initiative for Community Housing Task Force and give authority to the Office of Administration, HCD, to use identified budget funding of $30,000 maximum at $15,000 office department to support the initiative on behalf of Augusta, Georgia.
All right, thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 10th, Commissioner Wayne Guilfoyle. Well, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, let me call you first. This is right. My apologies. Madam Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. As you know, the City of Augusta was recently approved to participate in the Augusta, Georgia Initiative for Community Housing Initiative. And so with that, we have formed what we consider to be a small group or an internal committee. However, to formalize this group as well as our actions, we're coming to you today asking for you to allow us to create a task force. And with us today, we have Shantia Lewis, who is the Deputy Director for Housing and Community Development. I would like for her to give this body as well as the public an update on what GIC has been able to accomplish within this short period of time since we've been approved for the program. I would also like to acknowledge we have several GIC team members in the chambers with us today. Mayor Johnson, if you don't mind, if you would allow me to recognize them by standing.
Yes, ma'am. All the GIC team members, stand up.
I would like to thank them for their presence today. It is also key to note that our housing team members span both public and private relationships to include staff from planning and development, as well as representatives from local banking institution. We also have the CSRA Habitat for Humanity, the Community Foundation for the CSRA, the Housing Authority, the Board of Education, and several others. So this is an expansive effort that will spread through the City of Augusta, and I thank you, housing team members, for being present today. So Mayor Johnson, again, if you would allow Ms. Lewis to provide us with a brief update of where GIC stands.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Lewis, you have the floor, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the Commission, senior leadership of Augusta, Georgia. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us to speak and provide you with this update. We're happy and ecstatic to be able to provide this initiative for our Augusta, Georgia residents in the indicated area to assist not only this particular area, the Turpin Hill neighborhood area, but using this as an opportunity to springboard initiatives throughout every community within Augusta, Georgia. As an update, we have had our first community meeting informing the community of what GIC is and the potential opportunities that will grow from GIC. Not making promises of what will happen, but of course educating the community about what the Georgian Initiative for Community Housing is, which the acronym is GIC, but most of all, instilling in them the opportunity and understanding that they are not forgotten about. Through this initiative, we've also had a number of meetings with our housing team, educating them, creating synergy for them to be able to last and withstand throughout this process. The program is a 3-year program with commitment that all attendees will participate and be actively involved with the process of creating opportunities through initiatives that are provided from GIC, such as revitalization plans, code enforcement, and improvement plans opportunities, neighborhood planning opportunities, technical assistance from GIC, and so forth. I'm excited to say that standing next to me is Portia Beasley, who's our lead speaker for the GIC program, Initiative for Augusta's Housing Team. And when voted into this petition, the team did not see any hesitation with offering an opportunity for a partner to Augusta, Georgia, to assist us in leading the effort to speak on behalf of the team.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Ms. Beasley, would you like to add anything additional?
Sure. Thank you and good afternoon. I did just want to add that it's a privilege that you all allowed this initiative.
Thank you so much. All right. There was someone in the queue. Ain't nobody in the queue? All right.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seeing no further discussion, let's vote, Madam Clerk.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to the addendum item because we got some guests in the chambers that small business owner. We want to get them out of here.
The addendum is a request to approve a consumption on premise for liquor, beer, and wine license for K&J Soul Bar and Grill located at 720 East Robinson Avenue.
Motion to approve. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right. All right, Mr. Kepner, you have the floor, sir.
Brian Kepner, Deputy Director, Planning and Development. This application is, again, as stated, consumption on premise for liquor, beer, and wine license for K&J Soul Bar and Grill located at 720 East Robertson Avenue. The actual mailing address is a Grovetown address, but the property is located within Richmond County. Planning and Development and Sheriff's Office has recommended approval, and the applicant's here.
All right, madam. If you don't mind, for the record, again, you got to state your name and address.
My name is Aubriana Bonner.
My name is Janika Bonner.
Need addresses too, please, for the record.
I'm sorry, 720 East Robinson Avenue.
720 East Avenue. East Robinson Avenue, sorry.
It's been requested that you share your personal addresses.
Oh, sorry. I got to think about mine. No. I'm sorry.
Where you live?
I done moved again.
I'm sorry. 204 West Buena Vista Avenue in North Augusta, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. My address, I'm trying to think.
You don't need one? All right, we're good. All right.
I'm so sorry.
All right. Is there a motion on this item?
I said motion to approve.
There's a motion in the second by Commissioner Mason. Madam Clerk, we're voting.
So the motion is going to be adding and approving this, okay?
Yes.
They got me so nervous. Okay, I'm ready now. It's 1301 Huntington Drive. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Bonner, go ahead.
It's 1301 Huntington Drive, apartment 1301.
All right, that's what city and state? Augusta?
Augusta, Georgia, yes, sir.
Gotcha, all right, gotcha. All right. All right, Madam Clerk. We'll run to a public.
Every year.
Clear? All right, we're clear.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here. All right, Madam Clerk. Let's go down to item 18.
Item number 18.
Yes.
Request work session with the Augusta Land Bank Authority to discuss their duties, responsibilities, and benefits of having a land bank authority.
Thank you. All right, that's a motion to approve, and there's a second. Commissioner Pulliam, you need to add anything before we vote? Seeing nothing. Commissioner Francine Scott, you're in the queue, ma'am. You good? All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there a time frame? Commissioner Pulliam?
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And so, Administrator Dowse, I would yield to you. What is a feasible time frame?
Anywhere within the next 60 to 90 days, my office will work with the clerk's office as well as the Augusta, Georgia Land Bank to determine the best time appropriate.
All right. Thank you so much.
60 to 90 days, all right? Does that need to be added to this motion? Not. Let's vote, Madam Clerk.
It's unanimous.
All right. Item 19.
Item 19, discuss processes and procedures. We're asking that this be deleted.
All right. Is there any objection?
Without objection.
Is there an objection to deleting this? Seeing or hearing no objection, let's delete.
Item 20 is an update on the operational audit.
All right. Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner McKnight.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're back again on this. I just want to get an update from, let's see, who's in the audience? Thank y'all. Who's in? Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Administrator Dowse.
Thank you, Commissioner McKnight. You may recall that the commission approved canceling RFP 23-142. And with that, we have reviewed the existing scope. As you recall, that the scope of work that was presented to you, the budget was not budget friendly. And as a result, we have requested of staff to submit all of their standard operating procedures. I recall stating and communicating that an update would be provided on April 30th to this body. The standard operating procedures is the first step in the scope of work to identify internal controls over financial and operating data, as that is adequate and necessary to even begin an operational audit. This will allow us to further assess any potential reductions in scope that would have a direct impact on costs. So if you would allow staff to continue gathering those standard operating procedures, as well as continue that comprehensive evaluation, which is being done within the administrator's office currently, we'll be able to provide you more information on April 30th.
Okay, so we can bring it back to the table on April 30th.
Yes, ma'am, with an update.
Okay. Ms. Bonner, can we make note of that, please? Okay. Thank you for that, Ms. Dowse.
All right. So we're going to receive this information without objection. Hearing no objection, Madam Clerk, let's move on to our last item, item 21.
Item 21 is to complete an audit in 90 days on the Park and Rec Department for 2021-23 in the following areas: Lake Olmsted detailed expenditures and ledger codes, all community centers list of user groups and dollar amounts taken with each group, Riverwalk expenditures for all areas, including the additional $150,000 for the 8th Street bulkhead, all vendor expenditures and the jobs they perform, including consultants, lawn service, etc. All park expenditures broken down by the park with ledger codes, including Fleming Park. All hotel stays with locations by all employees in the department. Candlelight Jazz monies total for each date and how the money was collected and used. Information Technology Department to review of any deleted files for the department that are personal or financial. Review all contracts of $25,000 or less for department head signature on the document, plus bringing back recommendations of what we can make automated versus paper.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 7th, Sean Franham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's pretty self-explanatory all on here. At some form of time during the last 3 years, one of these areas has been questioned, whether it be the media, whether it be with somebody up here. We currently do not have a director, a permanent director. We are looking for it. This sets them up for success. It also allows us to see basically look at a microscope on one department and see what we can do to implement into other departments. I think that right now this would send the right message, not only to the community, but to our department heads that, we're going to start to make this government more efficient. We've never done anything like this in the 9 years that I've been here, where we've basically deep dived into one department. And so I make a motion to approve an external audit using an emergency procurement bid process as stated on the screen.
Second.
All right, so there's a motion and a second from the Commissioner from the 10th. I heard him chime in first.
I'm in the queue now.
I know, I'm coming to you. I got the motion and a second. I'm coming to you right now. Commissioner from the 5th?
Yes.
All right, second. I see Attorney Brown. You good? All right, Attorney Brown's out. Commissioner from the 5th, you have the floor, sir. Commissioner Williams.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask Ms. Williams to come up, please.
Director Williams.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. You're smiling, so life
Really?
must be good. Look, I just want to.
It's expedited, isn't it?
I just want to ask, one of the details on here, Lake Olmsted expenditures and ledger codes and what have you, do you have access to that information?
Yes, sir, that is a part of our financial system. I mean, I don't have a report of those expenditures with me, but yes, sir, we can certainly.
Riverwalk expenditures, do you have those?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, that is one of the cost centers that has a separate budget for under the control of the Recreation Department.
The monies that we earned during Candlelight Jazz, do you have access to that?
Those are deposited by the Recreation Department and then recorded on our general ledger by turning in those.
I'm just asking, do you have access to that?
Yes. Now, I don't know if I have it. I would have to look to see if that program is specifically broken down that far, but that information is available.
So my question is, well, I won't ask you the question, rather a statement. I'm not sure. We can do what Commissioner Franham is asking us, but I don't think, that we need to go out and do a $100,000 audit, bring somebody in. We can pretty much request most of this from your department, correct?
You can get the information, sir. You can. I do not have the staffing level to be able to produce an audit of this size.
But most of this information we can just get from you.
I can run a report with summary information for several of these items, for river walks, for Lake Olmsted expenditures, but to dig down into the expenditures and the jobs that were performed, no, sir, that is not just a push a button on the computer and run a report. That is physical audit work.
Oh, okay. Ms. Sams, if I may, is Ms. Sams still here?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I think she's right up front.
Oh, there she is.
I just want to ask you one question. Why are you walking so slow? Is this something that we would have to procure out to do this audit? Is this something that we would have to send through your department?
Yes, sir. But it would not be an emergency procurement.
Okay. So how long would it take us to get something like this done?
To actually get an auditor, we could do it within 30 days.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am.
You're quite welcome, sir.
All right.
All right, Commissioner from the 5th. You yield. Commissioner Alvin Mason from the 4th. The floor is yours.
I have one last question.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Ms. Sams, Why are you looking like that? What's your estimate as to how much this would cost the city?
Well, that's going to be very extensive because you're asking for a lot of detailed information. And something of this magnitude is going, and you're asking for 3 years. My estimate would be about 100. Well, the finance director has asked me not to put an estimate value on it.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been asked not to do an estimate.
But it's going to cost a bit of money.
It's going to cost, and it's going to cost something. I anticipate being you're going to pay much, 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 much more for the audit to find $1.50.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. All right.
All right. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 4th, Commissioner Mason.
I was basically going to ask those questions, but I mean, if it's $1.50, I don't know about $1.50, but or how we would know that at this particular point. Well, I'm certainly for ensuring that I want to ensure success for the next person to step in. Period. And I think that's very, very important that we do that. At the same time, is it possible as you would you say she could run the numbers and that? And when you draw up your solicitation, that's going to determine to some degree the dollar amount that you're looking to spend. Is that correct, Ms. Sams? Once you know the scope of the audit. Well, Ms. Williams, I guess.
I would consider this the scope that would go out in the RFP.
Right.
Okay.
Is that something that that's, I don't know if we're getting into
At
that.
some point, there probably would be questions from the potential respondents to that RFP as to the number of transactions or the size of the budget or the dollar amount of the expenditures. Those are all typical questions that get answered. The potential respondents would then formulate their response based on the anticipated amount of time and resources that they would devote, and then they would give us a potential price for that. Through the normal process, you would
So you're doing
evaluate the quality of the
then.
responses, and then you would go to the price of those responses.
Request for qualification, request for quote. What are we talking about?
Here we're talking about a combination of both. You're going to be asking for an RFP, which is the request for qualification.
Correct.
And we're going to ask them to present an estimated dollar amount to.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Chair recognizes Commissioner from the 3rd, Commissioner McKnight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. After looking at this, I see that the following areas have raised eyebrows for quite some time, for a few years. You hear people, constituents and citizens asking about this, and so I think we need to pay whatever it is that for this audit to be done. It's long overdue, and so I support whatever it is we can do to get it done. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, there's a motion and a second. There's no colleagues in the queue. There's a motion for this matter. Let's vote.
We're ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
You won't be able to do that.
Sure do.
We can bring it back to
That motion carries 6-4 with Ms. Pulliam, Mr. Bobby Williams, Mr. Tony Lewis, and Ms. Francine Scott voting no.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, Director Williams.
This one, as we've gone through this, it's going to take approximately 30 days to get an auditor. So I'm a little concerned about within the 90-day time frame, we would be able to bring that back to y'all as to what the potential respondents can tell us that they can do. Is that acceptable?
Can the 90-day period start once it's
We will
awarded?
put that in the scope.
90 days once
That
awarded?
they anticipate to complete the process within 90
That seems
days of
fair.
engagement. And I think that would clarify things.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
appreciate it.
Madam Clerk, does that conclude our business?
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a week off from Masters. Y'all have a great week. Have a great spring break. Madam Clerk, this meeting is hereby adjourned.